Hello everyone, Pulse here and welcome to another episode of Delving Deep ESO. Now in this episode we're going to be focusing on something that a lot of people have asked me about, and that is the review scores currently aimed at Elder Scrolls Online. Now I was originally going to tackle this topic in the podcast, however I did get so many questions and requests to cover it, I figured it kind of earned its own thing, its own video, and will be kind of a standalone discussion piece. Now, review scores as a topic in general, it's a thing that I could easily make a whole video, couple videos on, honestly, and could fairly easily get into a rant about the video game review market as it stands, Metacritic, and numerous other topics about the flaws and failures of both the reviewers as well as the gamers that read and listen to this stuff as if it was the gospel. Now, instead of going into that discussion, I'll be upfront and say that if you're wanting a little bit more insight as to my opinions on this stuff, I would point you towards the likes of, say, like Adam Sessler and Total Biscuit for the most part. I usually tend to agree with those guys when it comes to, at least this, when it comes to the review scores. So check out those gentlemen if you would like a little bit more professionally spoken opinion directed right towards the BS that is the current video game review market. But again, for this video, we're going to focus on Elder Scrolls Online. So for that topic, how is the game reviewing? Well, not amazingly well, honestly. Most reviews are sitting under 7 out of 10, and there are many individuals shouting hate and filth aimed at this infant MMO title. So the main complaints, as far as I've been able to pick out, are the following. We've got the bugs and server issues aplenty, destroying the experience, destroying the playtime, and the ability to enjoy the game in general. We've got the guild store nonsense that needs refining, and the most basic of tools need to be implemented to make it actually work. We've got the big one as far as I'm concerned, and that is that Elder Scrolls and the MMO side of this game, two halves to a whole that haven't quite melded together properly or believably. And then finally, kind of this overarching opinion that the game in general is just bland and, as some have said, painfully average. So let's dig right in. And I guess I should apologize up front in advance for any rage that may peer its ugly head, because to be honest with you guys, I've read some stuff that is just baffling, to say the least. Just baffling. So the bugs to start. It's an issue. It usually is with a newly launched MMO. So is it therefore understandable then? Well, not so much, because ZeniMax has kind of messed this one up. They've launched a game with many a bug that were definitely reported in numerous fashion, namely the dupe bugs, the mailing bugs, the progression halting bugs, and then there's also the rollback issues, and then the very weird character account swap issues, where you were somehow able to log into somebody else's account legitimately when you typed in your stuff. And goodness knows what other bugs. So there's a lot. There's a lot on the plate of bugs. There's bugs crawling over the damn place. And normally I would come to the defense for this because it's a new MMO. But they're kind of in a unforgivable space because of the fact that most of these bugs were reported in beta a long time ago. And even though myself, playing this game, haven't experienced most of these game-breaking bugs, not in any fashion where I just felt like the game was totally unplayable. In fact, most of my bugs I've encountered have been just a couple quests that I needed to relog and stuff like that. But in general, the evidence is pretty clear and concise as well. Most people are feeling these bugs in a pretty hard way, and as I said earlier, ZeniMax has kind of effed it up, really. They've obviously come out of the gate, released a product that wasn't finished, probably due to publisher pressure, as it usually is, and they've put a title forward that isn't properly finished. And to me, it's like the same as saying, you go to a restaurant and they serve you an undercooked pork chop. Are you going to eat that pork chop? Well, you might, and you might get sick from it. You're not going to enjoy it all that much. And the same kind of pertains here. They've served us an undercooked dish. And for that reason, we can't really forgive them. Because even though the launch has been fairly reasonable, fairly successful as far as I'm concerned, I've definitely been through rockier, it's still not okay. So this is a legitimate concern and a legitimate kind of, we'll say, a slap towards the review score. We'll say they're taking it down a peg with that one. Now on to the guild stores and how messy they are. They're a mess. They're a mess and a half, in fact. But it's not to the point that the actual guild-driven economy, like the whole idea of it, is still fairly intact, and it's more of a problem with the usability of the guild store functions. And it's incredibly clunky rather. It's obviously unfinished, and it's lacking stuff. It's lacking basic search functions, lacking standard auction house style options as well. And from my experience, again, it isn't killing the economy or doing any nonsense like that makes the game unplayable. It makes it a pain in the ass to do business through the guild store system, and it's something that can be easily fixed. Honestly, they could throw in a small patch that introduced some basic functionality to the guild store system. Bing bong bong, there you go, you're done, fixed it. It's like magic, it's gone. So it's, to me anyway, this is not a big one. This is not a big problem. The big one, however, does follow, which is the Elder Scrolls Online doesn't actually mix MMO and solo player test title together quite right. It doesn't know what it wants to be, as some people have said. And this is the one that makes me mad. This is the one that pisses me off, rubs me the wrong way. For two real reasons. And it's because ZeniMax is at fault, as well as the reviewers are at fault, as far as I'm concerned. Because on one side, ZeniMax didn't properly advertise their product, and instead they just went gung-ho with this whole advertising campaign that was like, hey you, that guy over there, did you play Skyrim and other test titles that came before? Holy shit, you'll love this game. Oh, look at that guy over there, he likes MMOs, he'll love this game too. Holy crap, everyone's gonna love this game. Did you like Elder Scrolls? You'll love this game. MMOs, like this game. Do you like to eat cheese on toast? You'll love this game. I mean, they'll get everyone. Cheese on toast, I'm not sure where the hell that came from. I don't eat cheese on toast. But the idea is still the same. They're putting this game forward as if it's for everyone. And it's not. It's definitely not for everyone. This game is not a single player game. This game is an MMO. And that's mostly where I get mad, because anyone with any bit of just rational thinking, really, could look at this game and the information that we had given to us throughout its development and could come away understanding this. So to me, what makes me mad is that Elder Scrolls Online was maybe advertised incorrectly, and I'm gonna have to slap ZeniMax for that one. Bam bam, slapped them in the face. They fucked up. But then we have the reviewers, and this is where it makes me mad, because I honest to goodness cannot figure out how the hell anyone that is considered a games journalist can go into a review about Elder Scrolls Online and somewhere in that monstrous bullcrap of an article come away with a statement saying that they were baffled, or they were just distraught with confusion about how Elder Scrolls Online was very MMO-centric and it wasn't very single-player friendly. How the fuck does anyone make a career out of reviewing games, go into Elder Scrolls Online, and claim that? How do they claim that? Because their whole job is to go gather information about a game, to commit themselves fully to understanding everything about the game. How do these people not understand the basic principles of the game's design? Like, I can totally forgive anybody that came to this game and they'd never played an MMO before, or they'd only played test games and a little bit of MMOs, or they were just completely led astray by the terrible ad campaign that ZeniMax put forth. But man, if it isn't baffling when I read some of these reviews, and the reviewer, the one who gets paid to do the research and play the game, how is it that they can complain then that it's too MMO-centric and the immersion was broken because they seen other people? How is that a thing that can occur? Because it's a damn MMO, you idiotic morons. That is the whole point. If you wanted a single-player game, two things should occur. One, you don't play an MMO expecting it to provide a solo experience, because I don't know how anyone can fuck that one up. And then two, you don't go then from that point to do a goddamn review. You don't do a review on something that you obviously aren't going to enjoy. This game isn't for you. You don't bitch about stuff that isn't made for you when you go into a game expecting something completely ridiculous. You cannot go into Elder Scrolls Online and go, single player game, Elder Scrolls 6. It's not Elder Scrolls 6, I'm mad. That's stupid. That's fucking retarded. And I've seen that all over the place. And it drives me insane. insane. It drives me insane because I've seen people go in, they're like, I got to level 15 and I seen way too many people running around. Just drives me crazy. That kind of stuff drives me insane. But I'm going to calm it down. It's going to move on to a more legitimate issue with the game when it comes to the melding of two genres. And that is the phasing tech is way overused in this game to a point that it legitimately hinders playing with friends on a regular basis. And by regular basis, I mean probably once every 30 minutes to an hour. There are way too many private solo quests and instances. There are way too many instances of inability to travel to player. There are way too many walls, way too many bumps, way too many hindrances on the road to a proper group questing experience. Now, I've already mentioned with kind of what you can do with the game when it comes to fun times and the phasing in Elder Scrolls Online when it comes to a previous video I did, but it's still a major issue, and one that I can't talk about this game about because when I talk about this game, I get reminded of this kind of terrible feature, as it were, every day when I log in. Every day I log into the game. I usually try to play with my guildies, my friends, my girlfriend, and just about every evening that we try to play together, something happens where somebody's quest is slightly off, there's some weird phasing, we run into a solo quest so nobody can join in on the fun, there's a level differential that makes it incredibly difficult to play with one another because there's no downscaling, and it's one of these things that was a major mistake. And as far as I'm concerned, this is up there. This is definitely up there when it comes to bigger mistakes and mess ups in Elder Scrolls Online, and this definitely stems from a lack of cohesion on the baseline when it comes to what this game's identity is. Now, to me, the game has turned out like it should have, basically. I mean, I'm a MMO guy. I knew this was going to be an MMO. I wish it was more MMO, but I knew going forward that this was definitely going to have some issues because there was a lack of identity. And to me, it screams like they went into a board meeting. They sat down, they're like, Elder Scrolls, you know what would be cool with that? Playing with friends. You know what would be cooler? Playing with lots of friends. Let's make it an MMO. And then from there, they just got really lost. They put way too many skill points into needlessly solo-driven quests. They put way too many skills in that skill line, and they didn't put near enough into their MMO genre grouping skill line, as it were. And, I mean, it's something that can be fixed in the future. Because, I mean, even if we look at Craglorn, for example, the looks and the sounds of what that is going to bring to the game, to me at least, it makes it look like ZeniMax seems to at least understand a little bit some of the things that went wrong with their regular solo content. Because Craglorn is going to be much more open, much more group-based, and while that is supposed to be their kind of in-game group content, I think it will be a learning experience for them, and they'll be able to see that people like that way more than they like this phasing nonsense where you go, do a quest, phase, do a quest, phase, do a quest, phase. Nonsense. That's total nonsense, and hopefully that means that going forward, they're going to really dial it back to a place where the phasing is reasonable so that there's not this constant disconnect from grouping, and that will be fixed and we'll be done with it. Now, I think at this point, it's safe to kind of move on to the main point that reviewers have coming off of Elder Scrolls Online, and that is the idea that it's just unoriginal, it's kind of bland, and it doesn't really do anything amazingly innovative or drastic. It doesn't do anything to drastically change the MMO space when it's released. Now, my takeaway from this kind of opinion is twofold. The first kind of fold to this, as it were, is that many people reviewing this game has not even committed enough time to warrant doing a review at all. In fact, I don't think anyone on this planet has done so, because I thoroughly believe that in order to review a long living title like an MMO, I think 2 to 3 months minimum to review a game like this, because when it comes down to it, longevity is one of, if not the most important aspect of the MMO and its success. I mean, look at MMOs out there and tell me which one has survived solely on what it brought to the table during its first month of release. None. Zero. Because it's just a different beast. The game that is an MMO is completely different. We as players commit ourselves to a different environment when we play an MMO. In fact, most players don't even give a damn about the leveling experience. They only care about the end game. So people come into this game, they're doing a review a month in, basically trashing the leveling experience, but not committing enough time to actually experience the forthcoming end game, the raiding content, the high-end PvP. So for me to believe any of the reviewers or naysayers that complain, they state the fact that they've gone through the game and it's boring, or that some people are even saying like, I went to level 12, and they're using that as a bullet point to their discussion about this being boring, is just, it's baffling to me. Well, I'm not saying it's a valid point that like these people are not allowed to raise awareness to the fact that the leveling process in ESO isn't really different than previous MMOs, or that it does anything really innovative, that it's bland at points. I still think it's kind of a total shit move when people come in and they say they put 12 levels in and then do a full review on the game, because to me that's not enough time. There's no commitment there. If you're not committed, you don't do the review. And while I agree that the game maybe isn't that innovative, it's kind of bland even at some parts. It's just to me, I don't get it. I really don't get it, because this game, while not amazingly innovative, definitely brings stuff to the table. It has the open-ended skill system, the remarkable PvP, the fairly well-done combat system, and they did a really good job with the open-world feel of the game outside of the fact that you can't go to the other faction zones post 50. Outside of that, they did a pretty good job with the open-world feel. So for me as an MMO player, I'm perfectly content with this game. Is it mind-blowing like Guild Wars 2 was when it first released? Not even close. It's not even near a transition like it was going from WoW to Guild Wars 2. Not even close. But is this game terrible? And is it getting reviews that it's earned? Should it be forsaken and burned in the hells of free-to-play in a month or two? Absolutely not. This game has a ton of potential. And while it's not perfect, it's definitely not worth getting a score of a 6 or below because it's not quite as innovative. Because the game is actually quite fun. And to me, these people that go out and they review, they put in these scores of 6 or 5s or 4s or 3s, and then they have no real insight. They provide insufficient actual knowledge. And to me, that it's embarrassing. Like if I was a reviewer and I went into this thing and I came out saying that the genres weren't mixed correctly, I'm sad that I've seen too many people, or that the game is boring, and to me that takes off 5 points off the review score, that's just embarrassing. Like people like that, they just need to, either they needed to pass on that article, they needed to actually let somebody that was legitimately interested in the game to actually play it and do a review, instead of forcing something out 3.5 weeks down the line and say that is boring, because that's just not true. They haven't even experienced the damn game, so why are they reviewing it? But all in all, guys, I'm happy with the game. I legitimately don't think this title has earned the hate it's getting, and it's pretty apparent to me that in typical fashion, this game didn't live up to ridiculously lofty and totally unrealistic expectations, and as such, someone out there, just these journalistic sites that review the games, a bunch of them all released reviews all at the same time. They all simultaneously hit the let the hate train begin button, and people just follow suit as usual. And it really brings me right back to the very first topic about review scores, and the fact that people are apparently not allowed to make their own opinions anymore, that they can't make their own opinion without the insight of others. So to me, I would say to you, agree or disagree with what I have to say or what other people have to say. It just, go and make your own damn opinion. Be your own person. Do what you want to do. Play the game you want to play. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Reviews and the scores associated with them at the current point, at this current state in which the review market sits, it is a cancer on the games industry. It is an absolute cancer. I wish reviews would go away forever, because that would leave people to actually make their own opinions and forge them for themselves. and then they can go do whatever they want without screaming and Jesus, like attacking people because their opinion differs from one another. It's nonsense. It really is. So to you, I'm enjoying the game. If you're enjoying the game, don't let the reviews of others spoil it for you, because 9 out of 10 of them that I've seen or watched or read don't know what the hell they're talking about anyway. Most of them are just BS. It's not like the super new cool kid on the block. It's not the next WoW killer or anything like that. So let's report it at a 6 or below, basically, is what's happening. While a 6 or a 7 or an 8, I feel is a legitimate score in the current standings of the game. I don't think that reviews should be out for this game, period. Because 3 months from now, that's when we'll actually see if this game works. Because if I play it for 2 months and they release patches after patches after patches and it gets to be this glorious beast of an MMO, these review scores are still going to be up there. It's just, oh, it's nonsense to me. But I'm gonna stop right there. That's going to do it for me on this one. Otherwise, I'll rant for days. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button, that subscribe to Noble Pulse Gaming button. That should be on the video as well. Share with your friends. Comment down below on anything we talked about today or anything in general. And I also wanted to mention to you guys before I go that if you're interested in being a guest or just discussing stuff with me when it comes to Elder Scrolls Online or MMOs or games or whatever, make sure to send a comment down below or to my YouTube inbox so that maybe we can kind of correlate, do something together, and get you on the podcast and discuss stuff, and maybe come up with something that's modestly entertaining so that we can upload it for others to hear and watch. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.